I'm Angela Willis and welcome to my channel. I'm a history teacher and I like to use murder cases to help people better understand history. In today's episode of Women That Kill, we look at Shawna Ford, who was convicted of the 2009 murders of 29-year-old Raul Flores Jr. and his 9-year-old daughter in Arizona. This case helps us better understand the Border Watch movement that became extremely popular in the early 2000s. These groups have operated at the U.S. Mexico border since the 1980s with the self-styled mission to stop undocumented immigrants. Large groups immigrating to the United States is a part of America's long history, but so is the resistance to these immigrant groups. Today we will see how far one woman would go to protect American borders from illegal immigrants. Shawna Ford was born December 6, 1967 in Everett, Washington. Shawna's early life was troubled. Her lawyer revealed that her family had a long history of incest and child molestation. Both Shawna's mother and grandmother were incest victims and had children by family members. Rena Caudell, Ford's mother, gave birth to 9 children by 5 different men. She would often abandon her children to pursue relationships with men. By the time Shawna was 5, she lived in 7 households and endured extreme poverty. An uncle and an adopted father molested her, and a foster mother physically abused her. When Shawna was a teenager, court records show that she was placed in juvenile lockups multiple times for illegal activities, including theft and prostitution. As a young adult, Shawna continued to have legal issues. In 1989, a male friend sought a protection order against Shawna, claiming that she had physically attacked him and threatened to hurt herself with a knife. She made the same mistakes as her mother concerning men. Shawna was married 4 times. One of her husbands sexually and physically abused her. By the time she was 40 years old, she was still being charged with crimes. Around 2006, Shawna joined the Minuteman Civil Defense Corps. And this is kind of where her life takes a turn. This was a volunteer group whose mission was to prevent illegals from crossing the United States southern border. The movement was part of America's long history of anti-immigration activism. The immigrants targeted is never the same because ultimately immigrant groups assimilate into American culture. The Minutemen and related groups declared themselves doing the job the government won't do. And one of those jobs was building a barrier along the U.S. Mexico border. Shawna was an active member. In February 2007, she helped found and direct the Minuteman American Defense, also known as MAD. Shawna came to Arizona in early 2000 after a string of violent incidences in her hometown, including the near-fatal attack of her ex-husband. Although she was not charged with any of these crimes, the police suspected that she was the one doing them. Shawna continued to operate MAD in Arizona and made significant plans for the group, including purchasing a 40-acre property in southern Arizona. She had intended to establish a base for her group's border operations. However, MAD suffered from insufficient funding. So Shawna and her associates found a way to earn money. Shawna decided to rob Mexican drug cartels working in Arizona and use the money to pay for a base of operations. That would allow them to train a super militia to patrol the border and fight the Mexican mafia. One major problem with Shawna's plan was that she didn't know any members of the Mexican drug cartel in Arizona. So she enlisted the help of a man named Albert to identify members of the cartel and get information about drug activities in Arizona area. Albert has served 8 years in prison on drug charges. However, he really was a low-level guy and he really didn't know how to rob and things like that. So to help plan the robberies, Shawna recruited a man named Jason Eugene Bush, MAD's National Director of Operations. Bush had an extensive criminal record. He was charged with the September 1997 execution style of Jonathan Bunstead for supposedly being a race traitor. The courts imprisoned Bush on a variety of charges, including firearm possession. He was also suspected of 2 additional killings in 1997, but detectives couldn't link him to the unsolved cases. Therefore, he was free around the time that Shawna began to plan her criminal activities. Shawna targeted victim Raul Flores because Albert identified Flores as a cartel member. Shawna, Bush, and Albert planned the attacks on Raul for months. Shawna claimed that Raul's drug house contained up to $3 million in cash and drugs at one point during the meeting, but her claim doesn't seem to have been based on any proof or any evidence. It's just something that she stated, and the group just went along with it. The group believed Raul and his families were illegals and were a front for the drug cartel. Shawna and her accomplices planned to kill Raul and his family because they thought it was their duty to protect the U.S. Mexican border from illegals. The group planned the attack to occur at the end of May. On May 30th, 2009, Raul Flores woke up his wife Gina, saying that police were at the door. Their daughter was asleep on the couch with her puppy. When Flores opened the door, Shawna, Albert, and Bush, wearing camouflage, told the family that they were there looking for escaped prisoners hiding in their home. When Raul questioned them, Bush shot him in the chest and shot Raul's wife Gina 3 times. She was wounded and pretended to be dead. The daughter woke up crying. She saw her parents dead on the floor and pleaded for her life. "Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me." Bush reloaded his gun and shot the little girl in her face. The group searched the home expecting to find money and drugs. Instead, the intruders only found cheap jewelry worth less than $100. Shawna stole the only valuable piece of jewelry, which was Gina's wedding ring. When they found no drugs, the criminals left the house. Moments after the intruders left, Gina called 911. When she was on the phone, Shawna and Bush re-entered the home. When Shawna realized that Gina was alive and on the phone with 911, she told Bush to kill her quickly. While still on the phone, Gina grabbed her husband's gun and exchanged fire with the attackers, wounding Bush in the leg. The killers fled. Emergency service came and Gina survived, but her family died from their gunshot wounds. Gina was able to identify Bush as the one who murdered her daughter and her husband. Shawna, Bush, and Albert were all arrested and charged within 2 weeks of committing the crime. The district attorney had a mountain of evidence against Shawna. Police found Shawna with Gina's jewelry, including her wedding ring. Investigators found text messages and recorded conversations between Shawna and the other suspects on their cell phones. The prosecutor says Shawna didn't pull the trigger, but she's the one who planned the events. She's the one who recruited the people to do this, and without her, this would have never been done. The prosecutor also had physical evidence as well. Shawna and her accomplices had fled the house in a panic, leaving behind an AK-47 and a silver revolver, and blood from Bush's leg, plus fingerprints and DNA. During the trial, court records revealed that while Flores had a history of drug-related offenses, he sold a small amount of weed. People who knew him knew that he kept his weed at another location, that he would never keep any drugs or large stacks of money in his home. Moreover, the Flores family were all American citizens. They were all born in the United States. They weren't these illegal immigrants that Shawna had told everyone that they were. Essentially, a little American child was killed for less than $100 of fake jewelry. On February 22nd, 2011, a jury convicted Shawna of both murders and sentenced her to death. Shawna claimed her innocence, saying she was set up as part of a government conspiracy to destroy the Border Watch movement. One of her Border Watch allies, Roberta Deal, runs a Justice for Shawna Ford website exploring the conspiracy. The Border Watch movement did take a significant hit after Shawna's conviction, and it wasn't until the election of Donald Trump who revitalized the movement. If you want to learn more about women that kill, check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.